George, we're waiting for the numbers. We've got them. Your first thoughts off the back of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this, this earnings call, actually, is the right way to say it, is really going to be all about the future. So we kind of knew what deliveries were. We had a decent understanding of what revenues were going to be and profits. I haven't had a chance to dig through all of it. But again, I think the forward discussion from David Calhoun and the management team is going to be what's most important about this call. I think it's going to be, does the FAA agree that 38 is the current rate for the MAX production? And if that's the case, then this FAA cap on their manufacturing, numbers is not going to affect them for at least 6 months. I would hope they could get pretty well through or not complete with the FAA review of their manufacturing by then, and then it wouldn't impact their their deliveries for the year. And I think that largely would keep the consensus view in place. But I think just the fact that they suspended guidance means that there's some concern about that. There's concern that's going to affect their, their manufacturing cadence, and they're not going to get all those deliveries out in 2024.
Zooming out, can we just get a sense of how big a difference in profitability it would be for Boeing if their production rate were cut significantly? Their 737 production rate currently 38 per month. Let's say it goes down to 35. What would it go down to under a potential FAA cap, and how much would that potentially hit their bottom line?
So I don't think the FAA is talking about actually cutting from here. I think they're talking about, restrictions on letting Boeing increase from here. So I don't see them cutting it. I mean, an adjustment of 10% or so, like you mentioned, isn't going to affect production, I think, profitability dramatically. But I think the real, what we're all looking for from this company is to see production rates up in the 50s and 60s. We want to see them, they need that increased rate to go through their supplier base, because their supplier base has been working inefficiently because they're working at low rates, not making any money. That's stressing them financially. Their supplier base is out there hiring people, getting ready to ramp to higher rates. To pause that would put some financial stress on them. So this, a slowdown in their ability to ramp up cascades through Boeing and the entire base. So what we're really looking for is to minimize this cap, have it not be an effect on their break to higher rates.
Meanwhile, the Boeing CEO, Dave Calhoun, saying increased scrutiny will make us better in a memo to employees today, also noting that the backlog for Boeing planes includes more than 5,600 commercial airplanes. Do the safety issues of Boeing really matter in terms of just the potential orders, given the fact that it's a duopoly, that it's between Boeing and Airbus and they can't seem to develop the planes fast enough?
So I think it matters less until you have these problems continue for so long, the customers start to look other places, especially core customers. So the fact that United is already talking to Airbus about A321s is concerning. I wouldn't call them an anchor tenant in the Boeing, backlog. They've got a lot in the Boeing backlog. Again, it's hard to go to Airbus and get in the queue for an A320 because I think you're waiting 5 or 6 years before you can get an airplane.
Wow.
So that keeps people coming to Boeing. But what we've heard from Bloomberg News even over the last couple of days is that Airbus has gone to some customers and asked them, hey, do you really need these airplanes in these years? We're trying to free up some capacity to go conquest a customer, which is United. So that's somewhat concerning. If you start knocking away these big core customers like Southwest, Ryanair, Copa, Alaska, that fly just Boeing airplanes, then I'm even more concerned. So I'd say right now, hasn't happened. United, a little bit concerning. If this continues and they start losing core customers, it'd be very concerning.